You can't escape them, which could be a problem. Drones have been involved in many near misses with aircraft like helicopters. But these things are expected to be big sellers once again this holiday season. The eyes in the sky are here to stay.
There's such a high adoption now, just people buying these for fun or for their professions as well.
Amazon is ambitious about using them for deliveries. They get real estate agents beautiful shots of their properties.
It's the closest thing to being able to fly in real life without being like a full-blown airplane pilot.
And for those who love a gadget, they're also a pretty cool toy.
Why are these things so popular?
I really think it's having that unique perspective of the area around you, whether it's your own backyard or if you're traveling and you're checking out a new place, being able to get that bird's eye view, that new perspective of the world there's nothing really quite like it.
The problem many have, though, is navigating the legal aspects of what is and what isn't allowed.
Currently, it's actually very difficult for the average consumer to really know what rules and regulations they need to follow.
And that's because rules can vary from city to city.
In national parks, you're not allowed to take off. But if you take off from outside of the national park, you're technically allowed to fly over it.
Certain beaches allow them. For example, this one does. Others are a big no-no, like the same line of coast just a few miles north. Some of the rules, or lack of them, can be pretty hazy, especially for first-timers.
The problem is you don't know what you don't know. So when people get their drone for the first time, there's really no packaging or labels like a Surgeon General's warning that talks about the safety hazards or regulations required to fly drones. Also, there really isn't equivalent of a drone driver's license, so there's no formal training before you can unpack it and get the drone up in the air.
There are several apps to help, the idea being they will tell you if you're in a no-fly zone. Others will go film your shots for you.
Our API will programmatically check the airspace above that building and all of its coordinates.
This startup, DroneBase, for example, working directly with the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. Think of it as an Uber for drones, taking requests for filming, checking all the rules and regulations, then dispatching its own drones to do the work.
We'll typically just ask them to sort of mark where the boundaries of that building are.
Boss Dan explaining that even the big airports like Los Angeles, LAX, allowing drones much nearer than they used to with conditions.
Around LAX, last year, for example, there's just a 5-mile radius all around LAX that was restricted airspace. They've reimagined that airspace now where, okay, if you are right off the runway, that's still no. There's no allowable height. However, if you go, let's say 500 feet, stood off from the runway, maybe they'll approve you to fly to 50 feet. A mile away, maybe they'll approve you to fly 200 feet. Last year, we said no to 30% of all drone flights, whereas, this year we're saying no to less than 1%. So it's been a really helpful change.
A few rules are clear. Hobbyists must stay below 400 feet. Drones should always be kept in line of sight, and they should not be used above ongoing disasters like wildfires, where they may hinder emergency response. But this is ultimately new technology.
The regulations always take time. They always are kind of slower to follow as the pace of the industry grows.
And the rules, like that technology, are still evolving. Phil Lavelle, CGTN, Los Angeles.